Welcome to the Self-Awareness and Self-Compassion Podcast, formerly known as the Full Spectrum Feeling Podcast. I'm your host, Blaise Schwaller, life coach, mom, and former tattoo artist. I help people heal their past, speak their truth, and love the lives that they're living now. Join me here every week for conversations on how to live an imperfect but fully engaged life that embraces all the feels so that you can stretch into your best life while enjoying the you that's here right now. Hey you guys, it's Blaise, and this week I want to talk about building confidence. What does that even mean? How long does it take? When people come to me and they feel like they're lacking confidence in themselves, their ability to show up, what's really going on there? And what are they actually asking for? And what might you be asking for if you're trying to build confidence in your life, in yourself, in your belief, in your ability to show up and do things? So I think of our confidence as like this sliding scale of belief and how much we believe in ourselves and our ability to get something done. And I find that everybody has different, like if you had to rate yourself 1 to 10 in different areas of your life and in your ability to show up and your skill set there, you'd have different numbers. So maybe when you're thinking about, my ability to have a clean and organized house, you're like, that's like a 4. My ability to get up on time and get to work, I'm pretty confident. I think that's at an 8. My ability to have a conflict with someone and feel like I'm going to be seen, heard, and understood, that's where it's at a 0, but you'll have other things that you're like at a 10, where you're like, my ability to show up and draw an amazing painting or show up and do my job well. No matter what it is, we have different qualifications, different things that we believe about ourselves in these different areas. And I would say that if you would rate yourself at a 10, you're really confident. You're confident in your ability to get the job done. You're confident that no matter what you do, it's going to work out. And where you would rate yourself at a 0 or a 1 or below 5 on that scale, you're lacking in confidence and you're having a difficult time with it. So when people say, I'm just not a confident person, often what they're communicating is, I don't have a lot of belief in myself in general. So what I like to do in that case is look for, where do you have confidence? What can you be sure that you can do? And I would ask you to try this simple thing. Like, do you believe that you can show up and brush your teeth every morning? Like, have you been able to do that? And for most of us, it's like, I totally do that all the time. So we start looking for things that are a matter of fact for you, things that are just so simple you just don't even consider them as being important. And those are the things that you actually do have confidence in. When you recognize that there are things in your life that you do feel confident about, that you know you can handle and that you do show up for, it gives you a taste of what confidence actually is. Now we think of confidence as being this glowing moment where you're just like, I show up on the mountain, I've got my hands on my hips, I'm in a superhero pose, I can do anything. But what it actually looks like in real life most of the time is you just nonchalantly showing up, doing the thing and walking away and not even noticing that it happened. That's real confidence. It's not bravado. It's confidence. It's a belief in yourself. I love helping people build belief in what they're capable of doing and in what they have already done and helping them see how much ability they have. So if you're feeling like you have trouble talking to people, showing up, being understood, communicating, all of that stuff, I want to tell you, it does get better. It can get better. And where you can start with building confidence is looking at the places where it's not so hard. For the example of speaking and being understood, sometimes we find it a whole lot easier to do with animals or even with little children than it is to do with our peers or with adults or with coworkers. So is there a place or a being that you can commune with where the stakes feel very low, where it's pretty accepting and there's no judgment there, so that you can learn how it feels to just express yourself no matter what comes out of your mouth? And that helps you build confidence, because what you're doing is you're creating a history and creating more evidence of everything being pretty okay no matter what happens. Now, we do get more confident when we believe that no matter what happens, we can handle ourselves. So if you're talking to your puppy or to a cat and, you have a rough conversation and your cat looks at you and walks away, that may make you feel bad, but it's pretty low stakes. Your cat's not going to like take your job away. It doesn't ruin your life. You're just like, oh, okay, that didn't go well. And you think about it and you move on. But you can also have a conversation and your cat's in the room and like, oh, hey, I said that really well. I wonder what I said. Like, I felt pretty good saying that. I think I could say it to a human. I think I could have that conversation for real with the person I actually wanted to talk to. And it probably could go pretty well. Giving yourself a chance to practice really is what improves any skill. It's what gives you the confidence to try and keep trying again and again. I think we have unrealistic expectations of how long or how short it should take. It's usually how short we think things should take, from the moment that we decide we want to be good at something to the moment that we feel we should be competent in it and feel confident and great about it. So let's talk about that, because I think this trips everybody up, trips me up anyway. There's lots of things that I want to do that I get very excited about, and I buy a book. It's for real when I buy a book. I buy a book and I read the thing and I'm like, I want to do that. And I start trying to do the thing, like, oh gosh, learning to do the splits, right? Learning how to do pull-ups, like just any kind of physical challenge. I get excited about it and then I want to do it. And it's easy to keep showing up and trying for really for me the first week or two. And then as time goes by and I don't perceive that I'm getting any better at it, my joy level goes down the toilet, let's be honest. Like, it's just, this isn't so fun anymore. I'm not really seeing results. So I think many times we really just want to feel results immediately. And we try to say like, but I have so much patience. I gave it a whole week. I gave it 2 weeks. Like, why am I not already feeling better about life? The truth is, life takes time. And we don't want it to take time, but it does. And if we can be with ourselves through that crushing disappointment of how much freaking time it takes, that also helps us move along and have enough experiences to build up the confidence. So I think what happens in my working out routines that never really get off the ground is that I'm not giving myself enough time for it to become how I see myself. And what I think we're looking for when we say, I want to be a confident speaker, I want to be confident in my body, is that we just want to assume, as a matter of fact, as a matter of course, that we are a person who is great at working out or has the body that we want, or that's great at walking on stage and doing public speaking and has like zero sweats over that. Like, we just don't worry about it. And then the reality is that it takes many, many, many times showing up to prove to yourself that that is who you are and that there's nothing to be worried about, because of course you just get up on that pull-up bar and do 10 pull-ups or whatever it is. Of course you get out on that stage and you give a killer speech. But we do need practice and we need to collect evidence of that most of the time. Just sheer willpower alone doesn't make us believe it. I think a lot of what people are trying to sell us these days in the manifestation circles is that if you just change your belief, you can just change your belief in a day and change everything. And then you get to show up and be that person. And it's so seductive. And to an extent, I understand what they're saying, because there are moments where you can flip a belief very quickly. And it is like that, where you're just like, oh, well, it's not a problem anymore. I can do the thing. And that's how I see myself. So that's how it is. But it can take more effort than just wanting it to be so. I mean, I also want to have $1 million, but it'll probably take some significant effort, not errors. Oh man, significant errors to make $1 million. Significant effort. And possibly winning the lottery, right? Like significant luck, in order for that to just become a matter of fact and true for me. But I could feel like I already have it, and that might make me more likely to put in the effort that it takes to get there. So I think that is some of the trick of it, is figuring out, what do I need to feel like to be a person who does that? That's a question that I ask myself a lot, particularly when it comes to my health goals or fitness goals. I'm like, what do I need to feel without worrying about it too much, just put on my coat and go outside walking, even though it's freezing and I don't really want to do it? What do I need to believe about myself, or just feel about myself, or just feel in general, in order to make that an easy yes? And I think that's actually one of the best questions. So what do you need to feel or think to make it an easy yes for you to show up and do the thing already that's, causing you a little bit of anxiety or making you feel like you don't have confidence? What would the you that is completely confident about it think or feel about whatever question is put before you? I can share, over the last year, I wanted to build this habit of just more movement in my life. And I thought, well, what do I need to believe, or who am I if I'm a person who's like already walking every day? And when the opportunity would come up where I'm like, oh, now's the time. Like if I was a walker, I'd be out walking right now. And I would think about like, well, what is in the way of that? What am I thinking or believing that's stopping me from putting on my coat and going out the door? Because that's actually a very simple action. It's just like literally putting on my coat, putting on some shoes, and walking out the door. Once I make that decision, the rest just happens. So why am I not doing it? And I would come up with every excuse. I'd be like, oh, it's really cold. God, I don't want to put on my hat. What if I ruin my hair, or something like really ridiculous? Or like, oh, my shoes are all the way upstairs. I'd really rather not. And then I would stop myself and go, okay, we've indulged all those thoughts. But the person a year from now who's been walking every day, what did she do? It's like she said yes, and she did it anyway. She didn't like putting on her hat. She didn't like going outside, but then she did it and she had fun. So that's what I do. I feel like, okay, great. So I'm putting on my shoes, I'm putting on my hat, I'm bundling up, and I'm walking outside. And then I would just decide to be present for myself and welcome the experience, whatever it was. Because I was like, after a whole year of walking, I bet you I have plenty of days where it's just not that pleasant and plenty of days where it's amazing. And I'm so glad that I went out. I wonder which one today is. And I can tell you now that I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months through like the coldest, nastiest winter. Unless it's truly icy and the road is too narrow and it's kind of scary, I have been going out. And I've learned that I decided to adopt the opinion of people who live in like the Arctic. And they say there's no bad weather for being outside, just bad outfits. So I decided to make that my philosophy. And I said, okay, great. Like I just need to find the thing that keeps me warm enough to go out, and then I'll just go do it. And it's not the weather's fault anymore. I'm not giving it that power over me. I don't have that excuse. And I can say I go out, and there are some days where I think, wow, this is a great idea. And some days where like my eyes are so cold, like I'm crying icicles is how I describe it. It's painful, but I still get at least a mile in. And now I'm walking almost 6 miles a day sometimes. And I love it. And it's so much fun. And I'm really grateful that I've become the person who just walks. It is who I am now. And I made the decision in advance that this was who I was becoming. And then every time I had the opportunity to decide yes or no, I said, well, what's in alignment with that person that I want to be? What would I have to have decided to be the person who can say that I did it? And then I get that choice again and again every day. And it's pretty great. There are definitely days where I do turn it down because I understand, like, yeah, I'm not going to go through 365 days and have every single day be a perfect day and be in perfect health and have the right timing and everything, but it all adds up. And I'm very willing also to celebrate these small victories and go, if I'm able to show up just a little bit for myself every day, it definitely adds up. It adds up, and here I am, and now I'm a person who does this, and I can ask another question of myself. What else do I want to get confident at? Who else do I want to believe that I am? So those are my thoughts on confidence today and building confidence. And I hope that maybe some of that has, given you an inspiration or given you a new angle to think about the thing that you really want to become next. And gives you an opportunity to just look at it in a very neutral manner, to say, what decision could I be making and which one is in more alignment with the person that I really want to become? And give yourself permission to feel however you feel about that and decide whether it's still worth it to you anyway. Because I guarantee you, if you keep getting in alignment with what you want, it happens pretty quickly. And you just start gathering the evidence that you are the person who already does it. So yeah, it's on the way. You've got it in the bag. I hope you all have a marvelous week, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with someone you love, and leave us a review. You can learn more and get some self-compassion tips and tricks by visiting coachwithblaze.com, where you can sign up to get my free booklet on overcoming anxiety, overwhelm, exhaustion, and burnout. I'm sending you so much appreciation and love, and I'll see you next time.